It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news today in Nashville. The Predators will not retain John Hynes as head coach, according to a report by Kevin Weeks. The hire will be Andrew Brunette, the first ever coach of the Nashville Predators. In Barry Trotz hires the guy who scored the first ever goal for the Nashville Predators as a player. Most recently, Brunette was an assistant coach for the New Jersey Devils. Titans made a free agent signing this morning. Defensive lineman Jaleel Johnson, per a report by Jordan Schultz. This will be the 7th year of Johnson's career. He spent last season with the Falcons and the Texans. He has 6.5 career sacks and 11 career tackles for loss. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What did we hear in the hallway earlier? It's Monday that's Tuesday, or it's a Tuesday that's a Monday. Well, it was such a great phrase. And I heard you talking to somebody down the hall. You're like, that sounds like something Mickey would say.
It's a Monday that is a Tuesday.
Okay.
That is it. You caught it right.
It's a Monday that's a Tuesday. Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Because I guess we're referring to this is the first day of the week or that we are coming into work, but it's actually Tuesday. So did that make sense, Lucas?
I think it still makes sense.
Or makes sense barometer here.
Yeah, I'm able to process that one.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, it would have probably confused me if I hadn't heard it initially.
I heard it in the hallway and thought, gosh, the only thing wrong with that is that I didn't make it up. It was such a good such a good way to say
that.
That
is a Mickey thing to say, for sure.
It is. It really is. It really is. I probably, if I would have known we weren't going to talk about it, I would have probably said that is awesome.
Breaking news with the Predators, John Hynes out as coach, and they hired. Boy, this could have been a trivia question. Did you admitted you don't know? I told you, Blaine, I couldn't have guessed in a million years. The guy who scored the first Predators goal.
Yeah, I was stunned.
I would have guessed. I would have invented names. Andrew Brunette is per Kevin Weeks, a hockey reporter, I guess, former player.
Is this right? Is this right? Because I read that it was, and so I'm the type that I don't always believe what I read, but that is one that I have to believe it, right? Because that's factual.
Yeah. Scored the first.
It's not
ever
an
goal.
opinion. It's a fact.
That's right.
Yes.
Let me find out who it was against. I don't know.
I was like, wow.
Do you guys remember that first Preds game?
I was here. I mean, I was in town.
I definitely was here, but no, who they play? I know, I do not. I'm gonna make a. You know what? Let's make a guess who they first played. Quick Google it. Quit moving your fingers. Who did they play in the first game? I'm gonna say New Jersey. I have no idea. New Jersey.
They played
Detroit.
Okay.
Those used to be the big ones.
Chicago. No.
Oh, I gotta find their regular season schedule for that.
Well, all you gotta do is just say first
season.
Game Nashville Predators opponent. First game opponent. Oh, wow, man! If I get this right, I'm gonna just walk out. I really am.
You need hockeyreference.com, man. That's
my
reference pages. That's the spot to go to.
Yeah, but man, what do you think about them taking so long to make this decision? Right? Like, man, you got not only the head coach, and I got it. I mean, and I get it to a certain extent. This is business. You want to make the right decision. You're the GM, but I'm sure if Barry Trotz was in the other shoe there, he'd be like, hey, man, not only for myself, but my other coaching staff members, so they can go look for other jobs too as well.
By the way, the answer is the first game they played was a 1-0 loss to the Florida Panthers at home. The first game they won that Brunette scored in was a 3-2 win over the Carolina Hurricanes at home.
Dang. Oh, wow. So, So that was not the first game. It was the first goal in the second game.
Yes.
They didn't score any goals in the first game.
He scored the first goal,
which was a harbinger of things to come
game.
all those first few years. So they had a great goalie, but they didn't score very much.
They didn't score a lot. That's all
they did not. Those early Trotz teams were they just
it was defensive minded goal.
Boy.
Yeah.
This was hey man. You had your Titans defense, and then you had the Preds defense. There was some defense getting played in this town in those
my
days.
Titan, it was the Titans defense.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were on that team. You were captain.
A participant.
Yeah.
But
there still is. That trend has continued.
Yeah. That's kind of, it's funny, and that's continued not only with the Titans but with the Predators as well.
And the soccer team. I mean, they're scoring goals now, but they've always been built out of a defensive identity. It has permeated across sports in Nashville.
What is it about here? And this is like a fun, like people come here to have fun, not to watch a team play a bunch of hard,
tough nose
Not
mentality.
the defense isn't fun, Blaine, because you're our defensive captain.
No, you keep
But
it real.
people, I mean,
no,
like-
it's not. It's always funner to play offense. I mean, I'm a former offensive guy. I get it. Like, dude, nobody's talking about the defensive players. 10 years later, everybody wants to talk about all the fun plays that happen on offense.
Right.
So that comes with, unless you got a interception for a touchdown or something. You weaved and dodged and made it to the end zone, and you dove in there like CJ 2K or something, or Aaron McNair.
Well, Samari did that against the formerly artist known as Command Redskins.
Oh yeah,
on a Monday
was fun.
night.
Yeah, and I've relished who wants
you
to hear me
cleaned
about
somebody out,
how
didn't
I
you?
blocked some 340-pound guy and knocked him and depleted him. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at James Lofton there coaching.
Are you still going to the chiropractor over that block, though?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My lower back, my L4. I couldn't even say my lower back, my lower back. Yeah, it still hurt. At the time, I thought, oh man, that was great. Old Coach Fisher showed it the next day. This is what we're talking about. This is what we need out of our players. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with ice pack on my back in the meeting room. Yeah, I killed that 330-pound offensive lineman. You see me deplete him? Yeah.
You showed me that video.
Yeah, I posted. Yeah, I take pride in that. What are you talking about? Some guy like Lucas coming around the corner on the interception weighing 320 pounds. Not just kidding. yeah.
Who was the guy?
Because that's kind of. Oh, I had no idea.
Okay.
It's some offensive line. I want to not know their names.
Okay, because I'm sure
I know
he's still
numbers.
telling about Blaine Bishop got me. I got by Blaine Bishop.
Oh, look, that's another guy you don't want to get got by.
Lorenzo
Neal.
Neal
They've
on
been
TV.
replaying these games. Chargers versus Minnesota.
Vikings.
Yeah. There's certain guys you just don't want to run into, and that's what happened there. I got caught up into. Coach said, "Get these guys off the ground and make sure we pave a way for Samari to score, regardless of whatever you have to do." And man, I shouldn't have done that. I should just chop blocked them, take the scapegoat way out of it. Yeah, I should have. As soon as I got up, I was like, "Oh, that didn't feel so good." Yeah, I don't even remember celebrating. Like I just jogged the sideline and say something's not right.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. I was like, "Oh, I'm glad we're smoking them because my hands up, I'm out."
Put in Dorset.
No, probably like Perry Phoenix or Renee Stewart. I have no idea. I had so many backups. Bam Moore. Myers. We had a laundry list of guys that kept drafted to take my spot. I was like, hey, you can have it, bro. If you can win it out, if you can survive, you got to be able to survive. It's about survival.
Well, John Hines didn't survive.
survive.
He did not. He did not survive. Andrew Brunette hired again. Kevin Weeks reporting this. So, 4 years Hines was the coach here, and he was 3-11 in 3 postseason appearances. Obviously, the Preds had the fire sale this year. They didn't make the playoffs. Brunette, kind of an interesting story. He was the interim head coach of the Panthers in 2021-22, and they won the President's Trophy. They had the best record. Then they got swept, Lucas, in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, second round.
And they just said, sorry, man, we're going to get somebody else.
Well, he got the job. Unfortunately for him, he got the job too soon.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he had success and they go, but it's still too soon. You're not quite ready yet. We saw what it was in the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's some good and bad to that. But, man, this is exciting news. Does this change the perception, I guess, of expectations for them going into the season now? Or is it still somewhat the same? Not knowing all the coaching staff, and they still haven't made any player moves that you think probably could impact, but maybe they're done with that. Expectations still will be the same.
Yeah, he's a real unknown quantity.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna. I'm gonna ask some of these questions to our man we have on Alex Doherty, right?
Yeah, 145. Alex Doherty's going to join us.
Yeah.
So we can get into all this with him. One of the things, he posted a graphic basically about the team that Brunette coached in Florida, that they were an offensive machine, he said.
Oh.
So maybe he gets old Johansson and Duchesne and Forsberg just jump-started. And they just all the time they're a threat, not just some of the times, or part of the time, or every other
Well,
year.
you know how I feel about trying to think that you're going to jumpstart that it's already been started
You
already.
are who you are.
Yep, you are who you are. Now, maybe they play a little bit better on the defensive side, but no, you are who you are. That's what was so fascinating when the coaches were talking about the players. Oh, this one game here. Man, please, you better stop that. We got a long data history of what these players are. At any level, at any sport, and you are who you are. Unfortunately, you could try to exceed those expectations at times, but you've shown over time who you really are. So it'll be interesting. Some coaches are better at getting more out of you on things that let's say it's not your strong suit than others, though. I can't say that. But how long will it last is really the question. And to me, that's up to the player. So you just never know. New excitement from players too. New coach, new philosophy.
Yeah, a lot of draft picks. You brought up a great question, and for the hardcore Pred fan who watches the games and is really interested on a day-to-day basis, Blaine raised a great question. Are you more optimistic because of this?
Yeah.
Are you more? Does this make you go, oh heck yeah, now I'm going to renew my season tickets. Now I might buy another one. This has got me going. Because this guy's an unknown commodity. He has one season, part of one season.
He coached almost that entire season.
Yeah.
So he took over late October. So essentially coached the entire season,
One season.
in that interim year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like, coach had to resign in January or something, and he just led them for a couple of months.
So he's getting his own squad here. Be interesting to see what it looks like. Preds fans, if you want to let us know what you think, let us know what you think. 615-737-1045. You can follow us on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. You can respond there. You can look at our cool pictures and videos on Instagram at Blaine and Mickey. Send us a DM there. We'll read that too. You can always jump in the F&M Bank chat. Here's what we're going to do. Continue to talk Preds, Titans. The DeAndre Hopkins thing is still out there. I guess he wasn't officially cut loose. I guess until today is when the transaction happens.
In 2 hours.
In 2 hours. So he'll officially be cut loose. We can obviously get in some more on that because we talked a lot about it on Friday. But until he signs somewhere, it's something that needs to be talked about. But today is our Monday, technically. What do we do on Monday? Ding dong of the week. I have one of the ding dongeriest things I have ever seen. It was ding dongery of a certain level that it cost people a state championship in baseball. If you haven't seen this, my ding dong of the week is a whole team. You will not believe this story when we come back. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Ring a ding, ding, dong. Time for ding dong of the week. It's Tuesday. Normally our ding dongery happens on Monday, but you guys were hopefully enjoying yourself yesterday. Enjoying a day off and remembering the true meaning of Memorial Day while you were doing that. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing, or as we like to say, don't be a ding dong, use Mark Spain. So this was a real thing that happened. This video started circulating on Instagram. I never go first, but I'll go first today. This was unbelievable.
Ooh, you must be pumped up.
Videos start circulating on Instagram, and it's like, what in the world? What? So, high school baseball state championship in New York, the Hornell Red Raiders, all the way to the championship game against a heavily favored team. It was the bottom of the last inning. The catcher dropped the third strike, and he picked up the ball. So there were two guys on base. The team was down by 1 run. Third strike, it slipped out of the catcher's glove. You saw it hit the ground. It was only a one camera angle from behind the play, like they have a film crew and they just have the one camera that shoots behind home plate. You could see the catcher grab the ball and try to tag the runner, and the runner, it looked like, kind of stepped out of his way and just kept running towards first base like you're supposed to do on a drop third strike. You can clearly see the umpire signal safe, meaning you didn't tag him. So the catcher just throws his glove and the ball in the air, and the whole team runs out and they start celebrating. Meanwhile, you can see
he didn't throw it the first. Oh
no. Meanwhile, you can see the two base runners just circling the base. And one guy, maybe it's the second baseman for the team that would wind up losing, was losing his mind trying to go get the ball. And he didn't get the ball before 2 runs scored, and they lost the game that way. They lost the state championship because 2 runs scored on a dropped third strike.
Oh, wow.
Ring a ding, ding, dong.
So the catcher thought that he tagged the person on the initial drop.
Maybe he did, but you could clearly see the umpire. He said no.
Was it close, though? Like, could you see how the catcher could say that he did tag him, or no, it was just not even close?
It didn't look close in the video. It looked like he reached for him, but the guy kind of, just bowed up his back and kept on running. So the final score, 6-5. Palmyra Macedon scored 5 times in the 7th, including the dropped third strike with 2 outs, allowed the final runs. They won 6-5.
Oh, wow.
This is near Rochester, New York.
Ding dongery. You said it was in a state championship?
State championship game for high school teams in New York. If you see the video, you'll be like, somebody pick up the ball. You can see one guy who's playing defense. I think it's the second baseman. It's like losing his mind trying to get people to stop celebrating. Meanwhile, the other team's guys just keep running the bases. Scored 2 runs. Tyler says, Mickey, it was awful. The one poor kid in the background who realized what was happening and trying to get his teammates' attention, and he could not get their attention.
Oh, wow. Painful.
Tyler says 2 more ding-dongs. NCAA Baseball Regional Selection Committee and the PGA Pro golfer J.B. Holmes. Supposedly, he entered into a $30,000 amateur golf tournament in Nashville under a different name and was caught on the second day of the tournament and disqualified.
Oh, my. I wonder what name he used. Did he use Lucas Panzikas?
Lucas, he probably hit this pool party with Lucas and Bird and Buck that I saw a picture of on Instagram. I give you 3 ding-dongs, a ding-dong for partying with each other. Was there a pool out there?
Party's a strong
Bird in
term.
shorts. And
Bird got himself an above-ground pool.
Oh, goodness.
So
that just
from the Watson's girl?
Oh, my God. And he jumped off his roof.
I am a golden god. Did he pull the almost famous where he jumped off the roof into his
the almost famous? No, it's on a slight incline, so it's funny because there's an above ground pool typically doesn't have a shallow or a deep end, but this one does because his backyard is on the slightest of inclines.
Oh.
So the water is kind of more pooled to the lower end of that incline. So there's on one side, if you're standing in it, it's like up to your knees, and the other it's up to your chest. I did not get in. We just went out, hung out in the backyard for a bit, enjoying the day off.
Ding dongs, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll go. It's funny. My ding dong was for Barry Trotz, the GM of the Predators, for not committing to his own head coach. And then all of a sudden we had this breaking news today of a new coach. Because I'm thinking, man, are you telling your current coach that you're interviewing, or does he find out on his own? And the reason why I think it's kind of, imperative that the coach know, because it's not just the head coach, it's also his staff.
Yeah.
They have to look for new jobs, and you're kind of keeping them from, looking for other jobs because they're gonna start get taken. Now, I know you have guaranteed contracts and all that, but typically the head coach has really the advantage in that situation as far as, he'll keep collecting checks. But the assistants are all in, perpetuity to maybe just when your last day is there, and then you have to go look for another job. So I thought just hanging on to that and never even committing to the current coach was really kind of odd, because here's the thought process. You guys tell me if I'm right or wrong. If I was a GM, or if you were a GM, just kind of put yourself in the situation. You say, I know I'm going to hire a coach. I have 2-3 targets. I'm going to get one. So why didn't you just let Hines go? You knew you were going to hire a coach. Were you trying to have a safeguard in case you couldn't get 1 or 2 of the guys that you wanted? Because to me, it sounds like you knew you were getting a head coach. It wasn't going to be Hines. It just wasn't. So then you move forward. Now, if you weren't sure in the beginning, after first couple, how many weeks was it, Mickey? Since the time they last played,
April 13th was the last game.
It just seems really weird not letting go of the coach, unless he's going to retain some of these guys as the GM with the new hire, and he just comes in and changes the top dog, which could still happen. But even for the top dog, I just like, I don't know about that
And
one.
to your point, Pierre LeBrun, who's like that guy of reporting hockey stuff, Pierre LeBrun an hour ago, John Hines, who has another year left on his Predators contract, was informed today he was out as Nashville head coach. So it's not like they told him a month ago and he's known it. LeBrun is saying they told him today, you're out. LeBrun then tweeted that the Preds also interviewed Spencer Carberry, who was a candidate that a lot of. So they, like you said, they just been out there interviewing guys. I guess they told him, hey, we're going to interview people. If we find somebody we like better, then we'll fire you. And if not, then.
To me, then I would have just said, then you need to fire me now.
Fire me.
Fire me now.
Put me out of my misery.
If we're going to have that kind of conversation, you're looking, man, it's like dating. Like, no, just imagine if you're dating a girl and she says, oh, well, I'm going to go date other people, or you can date other people. No, all right then, bye. That's not how this thing works. No. So, I would have put him, foot to the fire, because he has the guaranteed contract. Hey, well, then y'all going to interview? Then you need to just fire me today. This needs a separation right now. And unfortunately, I wish it could work out, but that's not. You're never going to have my back. And now I'm going to be looking over my shoulder even if I do stay.
Yeah.
No way. No how. Can't do it. What do you think, Lucas? Do you think that was – how would you approach it if you were the GM?
Yeah, it's a lot of time that elapsed between the end of the season and now. A lot of the time for a staff to believe that this is their job to keep doing.
And they kept having interviews, and he still wouldn't commit. To Barry Trotz kept saying, well, we're still evaluating, which as a coach, you understand that they're evaluating the whole season. But after 2 or 3 weeks, you know what you're going to do. Yeah,
April 13th. That's the last game.
Yeah, that one there, man. That was, man. I have a lot of respect for Trotzy, man, but that one there, I don't know. I don't know if I don't agree with that at all. So hey, hopefully we'll see. Now we're gonna ratchet up the expectations now for the new hire. Now it's on you, Barry. Your guy better come in right. You better get it tight real quick.
Well, if Barry's like the last guy, he'll be the head coach in 25 more years, or that GM in 25 more years. Boyle's still the GM.
Oh man,
technically.
I want to make sure you're not good friends with the guy they just hired. Do you know him? You don't know him, just besides he's first go. Okay, yeah. Well, I hope they don't give him a contract like the past GM. Like, oh, I can do this as long as I want to. You cannot give a GM that kind of leverage, man. Yeah. But I get if you got it. You got that kind of leverage. Great for you. I'm just saying, in an organization, you cannot do that.
If somebody had told you the year you moved here from Houston, hey, there's a hockey team here too. Hey, I got a crystal ball, Blaine. On May the 30th of 2023, that team's going to have the same GM. Would you have said, you're crazy?
Oh, man.
This was 1997.
Well, you would have had to tell me that he had a contract where he was only firing himself. So then I would have been like, it's a possibility he could still be there.
Can I get one of those?
Man. Oh, man. You just never know.
Lucas has that kind of contract.
Yeah, I know.
Auto renews.
That's what happens when you're, you're really good. Paul's really good, and so is Lucas. So that's what happens. They can't afford to not have you with the organization.
I love that from the Preds ownership. Like, hockey, we don't know hockey. Just do your thing in perpetuity.
Wow, that is pretty incredible.
That poses a question, and should anybody have that much power in sports?
No.
Anybody?
No, not in my opinion. No. Besides the owner,
yeah,
the owner.
The person with the checkbook always has.
And that's
all the
not
power.
to say you don't give, some people who have a long history of success some extra years or years that
Bobby
you think.
Bowden,
Right,
Don Shula.
right.
Yeah.
But you can't they fire themselves. No. It's like Bill Belichick. You have one more bad year, you start saying, okay, Bill, things aren't going down the road that we had planned on. This is 2 years in a row. I'm going to give you one more. Like that. You deserve that right because you are the best in the business. That don't mean you haven't lost your fastball. Hart. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. I think Crafty is the same way. I think he go, I think we're going to be watching you real close this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See that? He's the best ever.
You don't have Tom around to erase mistakes anymore, so it seems to be more mistakes.
Yeah. Now he's blaming Mac Jones. So, yeah.
Lucas Panzica. We'll get Eric is on the line. We'll get to Eric if you want to join him, 615-737-1045. Lucas Panzica, your ding-dong, sir.
It's not a particular person, but
Okay.
a school of thought as spring meetings are underway down in Destin for the SEC. Head coaches, athletic directors, presidents of schools are down there at the moment, along with Commissioner Greg Sankey. And the most talked about topic right now is moving forward with an 8 or 9 game regular season. A conversation that just a few weeks ago looked like a shoo-in, a landslide for a 9-game regular season because it's a no-brainer to me. But now there's more and more noise about support behind the 8-game format. Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated has been all over this, and he tweeted yesterday, without a dollar sign incentive, he writes, more than half the league supports 8 games in 2024 as part of a 1-year temporary model that is under construction, basically putting a stopgap in it to readdress it for 2025 and moving forward. I guess what the SEC or what certain member institutions of the SEC want is to dangle that carrot in front of ESPN, say, we'll go to 9 games, but you got to up that number a little bit on that 10-year media rights deal that will begin in a couple of years. It is a ding-dong school of thought to settle with 8 regular season games in the SEC when you consider the amount of annual rivalries that would have to be nixed, the amount of marquee games that you would be missing out on, and replacing those with a Georgia Southern type of matchup, the ticket sales, the TV ratings, all of those things. And I understand some of the arguments behind schools that fight for bowl eligibility every year, and that effort would be a little bit easier playing 8 SEC games rather than 9. But I think it's insane to me to try and pull back on progress in an expanded SEC with 16 teams when Texas and OU get here to be talking about an 8-game regular season schedule as a possibility over 9-game, to be talking about 1 permanent opponent every year as opposed to 3. I think it's insanity.
Yeah, ding-dongery.
I saw that of all people, Saban, who has railed against 8 games for years.
For over a decade.
That he is this right, Lucas, now kind of maybe changing his tune a little bit?
Well, Dellinger put out the projection, his informed projections of if it is a 9-game SEC regular season format, what the 3 permanent opponents would be. And for Alabama, it was Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. So now Nick Saban is out there after, like you said, years of banging on the table for more conference games. Mm-hmm. It's better for college football. It's better for the fans. He says, well, they gave us Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn. I don't know how they came up with that. And now there's noise about Alabama being on the 8-game side of the fence.
Well, remember during COVID, you remember that, when they only played each other for 10 games, and we all said, oh, my gosh, this is worth all the money.
Is awesome.
Them only playing each other every week.
Oh,
heavyweight fights
lovely.
every week. Oh, they're about to go to 9 games. We knew it. And here we go. The slope's getting slippery again. Eric has been kind enough to hold. You can join him again, 615-737-1045. Eric, let's hear about your ding-dong or ding-dongs of the week.
Yeah, hey, guys, I hope y'all had a happy Memorial Day. Guys, I've got 2. My first is sports-related. The second one is not. But this is the biggest ding-dong of all time. Scottie Pippen for his insane comments about Michael Jordan. I still think that he's bitter and angry that he's not getting enough credit for his role with the Bulls. And I still will say this. I think he's one of the most overrated players, guys, in the NBA. I'm not saying he wasn't top 10, top 15 at the time he played, but some were saying he was the second-best player behind Michael Jordan. When you got to remember who played during that era, which I didn't buy. I did not. I could tell you about 5 or 6 players I thought was better than him. But he gets my first ding-dong. My other one, guys, you probably saw this news story where Taylor Swift was performing in Boston. It was pouring down rain at a concert. Well, after the concert was over, there were people that were collecting water and putting them in jars and selling them online for $250. And there were actually people paying that much money for it. Talk about a sucker being born every minute. Guys, the only way I pay $250 for anything if it's a round trip, plane fare, and ticket the same day to the Super Bowl. It's just people just pay money for anything. Guys, those are my ding-dongs. Y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
So they were paying $250 for
water that had washed over Taylor Swift on stage, I guess. This sounds like the Tom Brady sand salesman who went and identified where he retired from, his video.
And Lucas says, I don't pass up any opportunities to make money since I have a never-ending contract.
He does. His contract's self-renewing.
Where did he go, man?
He's screening a phone call. We got Robert in the Burrow, it looks like, coming up here.
Oh, man, that one there, man. I don't know. Someone would probably take the mixer's water off stage, man. If it fell off your guitar and everything else, yeah.
This does remind me, though, of the people who went and looked at the video where Tom Brady was and then went and scooped up the sand and sold the sand that they said was underneath him when he retired. Remember this? I think Eric called about that when it happened. Eric knows what obscure items are being sold on the internet.
That's tomfoolery.
So what are you doing there? Are you waiting for Tom to get up and walk away and then going to find the butt print in the sand where he was sitting and then scoop that up?
No, his feet, his toe prints.
Mm-hmm. His TB12 prints.
Man.
All right, what's in Robert and the Burrow up to, Lucas? Is he going to put a bow on this segment?
Come on now, man.
Robert, what's going on, man? What you got for us?
Why would any SEC team want to go and add another hard opponent when there's now 12 teams going to go in the playoffs? That's another potential loss. For me that likes to go watch Tennessee at home, that's a potential home game that we're going to lose. I think it's just plumb silly to want an extra game to give yourself. And then you got teams like the Mississippis, Vanderbilt. I mean, I'm not a Vanderbilt fan or Mississippi fan, but I'd like to see them get into the playoffs. So you're losing playoff money or bowl money because they're not going to become bowl eligible. Financially, it makes more sense to stay at 8 because you get an extra home game and one less opponent that you have to worry about getting your kids hurt against.
Well, Sankey, I appreciate the phone call, Robert. And I know a lot of people feel that way. Mm-hmm. Sankey said they did advanced metrics, and eventually they don't see it leading to a statistical amount of more losses or missing out on things because you played 9 games instead of 8. They did the metric simulation type stuff. Mm. They said they saw a negligible difference.
Yeah, that's
read that
like
this morning.
NFL, talking about turf versus grass. They want better opponents because that makes more money. This is all about the moolah. Oh, come on, people. That's ding-dongery.
Oh, it's all about the
and
TV
they say
show.
We take advantage of your ding and your dong.
All right, Alex Doherty, he is not a ding-dong. He covers the Predators. Penalty Box Radio, that is him now. Long time with A to Z Sports. Let's get the latest on the Titans. Parting with the old and in with the new head coach. Hines out and Brunette in. We'll talk about it next. Blaine and Mickey 1045, the Zone. Preds making changes with the head coach. Let's get our guy Alex Doherty on the phone at Alex Doherty1 on Twitter, now with Penalty Box Radio. Alex, big day, man. Thanks for taking some time to chat with us.
Absolutely. What's going on? Yeah, busy day. Busy day here just after Memorial Day, right? I mean, I wasn't anticipating this happening today. Were you guys?
Well, Blaine was going to name Trotz a ding dong of the week just for where are we on this?
We're taking
Do
so
something.
long. So
yeah.
no, we were not. Absolutely not.
So why was now the right time?
Well, I think you could make the argument that now was kind of a weird time. I would say there's been some, if it was pretty clear in Barry Trotz's mind that he was going to make a change, why did this happen now? Why did it wait? However many weeks it's been, 6 weeks since the end of the season. Why didn't it happen prior to other coaches or other GM changes? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I think it's pretty clear Andrew Brunette must have been his guy the whole time because he's been available for a while. So I don't know. I think that's it's kind of curious why it happened today. I mean, at least they didn't wait longer. I mean, maybe it's been something where Trotz had to finally get. Maybe he had to wait to finally see if some of these other names weren't possible. But I mean, it just seems odd that you would wait this long, string John Hines along for as long as you did, and then finally make the change. Basically when the Stanley Cup Final is about to start.
Alex Doherty, our guest, Penalty Box Radio, talking about the big changes with the Preds today up at the top with the head coach.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Alex. I was perplexed being that Trotz was a former head coach himself. So you knew you were going in a different direction. You're doing all these interviews, so obviously you're not happy with the situation we're at. To me, he should have just respectfully let him go, even if maybe it didn't work out on his side of it. You could say he wanted some safeguards there. But I guess what do you think are going to happen to the assistants? Because to me, that's where I lean towards, man, this is a tough situation for those guys. Are some of them going to be retained? What do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, they would be. So I will say this. I think that one of the assistants should be definitely kept. I mean, Dan Hinote to me is a very popular coach in that locker room among the players. The penalty kill, which he was in charge of, was actually very good at the end of last year. I think Trotz probably recognizes that and knows he can't make too many changes at once. And given that, Andrew Brunette obviously coming in can make his own hires. I kind of think Brunette would be on board with keeping a Dan Hinote because he's such a player's coach. The guys like him. The other guys, Todd Richards and Lambert, I don't see a reason to keep them. I think maybe them being on the way out would make sense to me, but you got to keep Dan Hinote. I think that would really crush a lot of players in that room. They really like Dan.
All right, we love to play a game called Honesty. Did you know he was the first, the new hired coach, Brunette, that he was he scored the first goal for the Predators?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
remember when it happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
I would have guessed every name but that name.
Yeah, it was a weird goal, too. It had to be reviewed. They didn't even know that it so I forget exactly how it happened, but it was like a bouncer that crossed into the goal and then came back out, and he knew it went in, and they had to review it. It was kind of one of those things. So it's a weird first goal, but yeah, he was the first one.
All right, and I guess last for me, new coach, does that change the expectations for the Predators?
That's a great question. I mean, that is the thing. So, okay, first of all, I would say everything is on the table at this point for the Nashville Predators. If he made a change at head coach, we are about to witness a off season for the ages because, I mean, Ryan Johansson, Matt Duchene, Philip Forsberg, all these guys, Brian McDonough, probably not Roman Josi, but UC Saros, all of these names. I mean, there's no one that's untouchable now. I mean, if you're making these kind of changes, you are ready to re-gear and just completely retool everything. Especially someone like a Ryan Johansson, who already seems kind of halfway out, halfway in, and so there's changes there. But does it change the expectations? I don't even know. I mean, I think that we have to see what's going to happen next, because we would have to see what's going to happen with the draft, what's going to happen with trades, free agency, which of these unrestricted free agents out there are they going to go after to really make that determination, because I think they view Brunette as not just a win, sort of win of the future, like a kind of long-term kind of hire, but like a win-now guy. I mean, Andrew Brunette took a Florida Panthers team that had just fired Joel Quenneville, took them to 51 wins, and the President's Trophy as an interim coach. I mean, that is unheard of. That just does not happen. And he did that, and then basically wasn't retained, and then they hired Paul Maurice, and obviously Florida's doing well. They're in the Stanley Cup final, but he's always been a guy that people have thought, man, this guy can coach. This guy can get it done. So I kind of think the stakes and the expectations are ramped up, but we have to wait to see what could happen. If this team trades UC Saros and trades Ryan Johansson and trades Matt Duchene or something like that, then the expectations have to be lowered a bit, right? Then they're going to be a rebuild team. But I kind of think that they're treating this as a win now and win in the future kind of move.
Man, real quick, I guess, what do you think is going to happen with John Hines? Think he's going to coach somewhere this season or take some time off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, Columbus still has an opening. There's Anaheim. I know, he's a young guy. I mean, he's definitely got the ability to coach at this level. I would think that he would probably land a job, but he has been fired from 2 head coaching jobs already and hasn't really had success, a postseason success that is. And so I don't know. I think it would be hard to make him the next head coaching job, or give him the next head coaching job at somewhere like Columbus or Anaheim where they're trying to rebuild. Maybe he becomes an assistant, in I don't know, Philadelphia or Washington or New York or somewhere like that. But it's going to be hard for him to land a head coaching job having the resume that he does.
Hey, on the way out, I saw your tweet yesterday. You tweeted basically like a series of graphs, and you basically mentioned the 1 year where he was in Florida. Your quote was offensive machine. We haven't seen a lot of offensive machinery around here around the years, and sometimes the machinery goes other places and gets much more offensive than it was here. Can he be the guy that speeds up the process offensively for this franchise?
Yeah, I'm looking at some more. I'm going to do a lot more research on that. I really think you can't really compare the Florida roster to the Nashville roster, so it's going to be yes, I think that he will make a difference. I think he's the guy that can really unlock the full potential of a Philip Forsberg, of a Matt Duchene, and even of the young guys, of a Tommy Novak, a Cody Glass, all those guys. But it's probably unfair to say that he's going to go from having Jonathan Huberdeau and Alexander Barkov, these incredible talents, to having the players that he has in Nashville and expecting it to be that good. But I think there's still some things to tinker with and some ways to use his offensive system, which, I mean, to be honest, like, I don't even really know what his offensive system is. He's been a head coach for like 70 games. So we don't know what he's going to bring in exactly.
Alex, good stuff on short notice, man. We appreciate it. At Alex Doherty 1, everybody follow Alex there for all the latest or anywhere you want to consume Penalty Box Radio. Thank you, sir. Great hearing from you. It's been too long.
Appreciate it, Alex.
Absolutely. Yeah, y'all take it easy.
Yes, sir. Our man, Alex Doherty. All right, we come back. Hour number 2. Jordan Dejani is going to join us in about 25 minutes. DeAndre Hopkins, as Lucas said, about an hour ago, that cut is about to become official. Latest on all that. Your thoughts now that you've had a weekend to think about it, the Titans and DeAndre Hopkins. Does it need to happen? We'll get into that next. Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. A coaching change in Nashville as the Predators are letting go of John Hines, and Barry Trotz is giving the job to Andrew Brunette, first reported by Kevin Weeks. Brunette, a former Preds player who scored the first ever goal in the history of the franchise, most recently was an assistant coach with the New Jersey Devils. A year ago, he won the President's Trophy as the interim head coach of the Florida Panthers. The big news from Friday in the National Football League was the impending release of Arizona Cardinals wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. That will become official in 1 hour at 3 p.m. Central Time. Hopkins will be officially a free agent. Tennessee Titans made a free agent signing this morning. Defensive lineman Jaleel Johnson, per a report by Jordan Schultz. This will be the 7th year of Johnson's career. He spent last season with the Falcons and the Texans. 6.5 career sacks and 11 career TFLs. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. It is a Tuesday. It's Tuesday, but it's like Monday. So welcome in with us. Preds news today. Blaine had a ding-dong of the week ready for the Preds for just keeping John Hines on ice. He is on ice no more. The ice is melted. Yeah. He is cut loose by the Predators.
Him out the freezer.
Report earlier today from Kevin Weeks, hockey reporter. John Hines out after 4 years. Andrew Brunette hired. Brunette played 1 year for the Predators. The first year for the Predators, he scored the team's first goal in the team's second game. Alex Doherty was on with us. He goes, yeah, it was kind of a crazy goal. They had to review it, but eventually they ruled it a goal. He and Trotz actually go back to the minor leagues. Trotz coached him as well in minor league hockey, so a long relationship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I found that earlier. I hadn't even mentioned it. Brunette was the interim coach of the Panthers in 21-22 after they parted ways with Joel Quenneville, and they won the President's Trophy, but then they didn't hire him. They got swept in the second round of the playoffs. And again, Alex Daugherty was on us now with Penalty Box Radio, and he was saying, here's this guy. And, Alex's thing was they think they can win now with him and win long term. Like, they really like him. And I was thinking, my gosh, how's he not been a head coach then for the last year? Didn't get retained by Florida, was on the staff with the Devils this past season, but this will be his first full-time head coaching job. So he's never, been a head coach of a team and taking them into the preseason, through a draft, all those things. So we're about to see it all go down.
And it's someone that Trotzy is very familiar with.
Yeah.
And I know there was some history there, even more than, just as a player. So, wow. Yeah, so this is somebody he vets. So if they don't have success, we know where to point the finger.
What do you always say? When the GM hires the coach, clock starts ticking.
Yeah.
That's his guy. Hines wasn't your guy.
That hasn't been the history with the Predators.
No.
That has not been.
There's been no clock.
Yeah, there's no clock.
No
it never ticks. It just says, okay, well, we'll move on to the next coach.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how this goes. But, my question is, does the expectations change now? And do they ratchet up a little bit? So, yeah, definitely to make the playoffs. But, they got to go deep. They got to, at least get past the first round. For sure in his first year. So we shall see. They still can, they have a lot of picks. So we shall see what they do with those and see if they add or subtract some players. Continue to do it.
I asked the question earlier, and Blaine brought this up. Okay, so it's a new coach. You're going to have a bunch of new players. You got young guys. Alex Daugherty, again, I'm quoting him. He was just on with us. You can go back and listen to the podcast. He said, I think anything's on the table now. I don't think anybody's a for sure guy. He mentioned UC Stars. He mentioned everybody. He said, I think moving anybody is on the table now. I think everything is on the table. So we'd asked the question even before that, if you're some diehard Preds fan, you live and die with the Preds, is this an exciting move for you? Chance in the F&M Bank chat, by the way, you can respond to us anytime there, however you're consuming that. He said, yes. He said, I'm definitely more optimistic. You got to get the young kids playing. Maybe his system will produce more goals, which will help UC Saros. He said, juice. So there's a Preds fan who has responded and said he's absolutely excited about this. So they'll go into the draft. They got a bunch of draft capital, more than they've had in years. And We'll see how all that goes. But the Preds have a new coach. Their last game was April 13th. Barry Trotz was hired on February 26th. So he's been in the building down there for a while. Season's been over for 6 weeks. And here we are. The guy who scored the first Predators goal is now being hired by the guy who was the first Predators coach, in Barry Trotz. So movement today with the Predators, and we'll continue to let you know what we know about that. The other story that we ended the week with last week on Friday, DeAndre Hopkins, his release will become official today by the Arizona Cardinals. I'm just curious now that everybody's kind of had a weekend. And Blaine, you and I spent some time sort of dissecting this, and I think we had landed on maybe the easiest way to get money out of a contract would be Harold Landry, because he's not going anywhere. And you could easily convert some more of something to a bonus and push his cap hit a little further down the road when they have more money. But by the way, Debbie just responded, said, I'm very excited for the change to the Preds. What we had wasn't working. Yeah. So there you go. What the Titans have at receiver hasn't been working. This guy's out there.
According to us outsiders.
Yeah, right.
When
nobody
I say outsider,
in the building.
Yeah,
right.
Nobody in the building, I don't think feels that way, because that hasn't happened. If you feel that way and you're the coaching staff, and especially the head coach and GM, you feel like it's fine. But at least their actions tell you that.
And what do you say about actions?
It's all about their actions, boss.
That tells
Not
you
about
everything.
their words. Yeah, it's about their actions. So we shall see. There's also other opportunities maybe down the road to pick up, and I'm not even going to say a veteran, but a proven player.
Right.
Down the road here after June 1st and see where you go. And then you got training camp. But I don't like the training camp deal, because I want you to be here, learn the system, get in rhythm, timing with your quarterback. So the June 1st cuts is a lot more important to me, especially when you come in as a wide receiver. Just can't, go on different teams and like it's 7-on-7. There's a whole bunch of tentacles to it to make sure this thing is successful when you're a wide receiver with the quarterback relationship.
I'll put this out there as a question. I just need to figure out how to phrase it. I've been thinking about it all day, and I got my two crack wordsmiths here in Blaine and Lucas who are listening. Yeah. I want to know if and Mike Giardi was on with Lucas and Buck earlier, and his thing was about Hopkins is, he did do the podcast. He talked about, I like to play with this quarterback and this kind of defense. But he said, and Lucas, you can remind me if I'm saying any of this wrong, but essentially he said of DeAndre Hopkins, this is a guy who's always been like, I'm going to make as much money as I can. And he thinks that maybe the highest contract might land him more so than a chance to chase a ring. So if you're the highest bidder, you could probably get him.
He said Hopkins is about every last dollar from what he's heard.
Okay. So I wonder if the Titans are ready to move some money around and be the highest bidder for him.
Well, this is what I was referring to on Friday when I talked about Hopkins. If you want to go back and look at the podcast, is what's more important to the player.
Yep.
And everybody gets to a certain point where you've had all the accolades, you've won games, you made your money. Is he ready to turn the corner and say, I want to get a ring?
Mm-hmm.
And so, everything else is telling you that he goes after the dollar. But we don't know if that could change if with the right team.
Mm-hmm.
And the right team is with a relationship. Now, he didn't mention Watson and the Browns. A lot of people are reporting that because of that relationship, and because after June 1st, they may have $11 million available, that could be, a place that it can be. But he didn't mention them either. So just because you mention a team or a player doesn't mean you're going to actually be with that team or player. You got to go, especially if you're talking about a guy like him who, if he does go after highest bidder, that may not be a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see where this goes with him and what price he gets. And I think he's going to have to be patient here until after June 1st to figure out where the possibilities could actually be. And I think he just hired an agent. I don't know if he had an agent before that.
No, Clutch Sports. Yeah, that came down today or yesterday.
See, so he's maybe trying to figure out what the actual market is for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you then go into hiring an agent. As I said on Friday, I wish the Titans could be a part of this process, but I doubt it. Just because if he's going after money, they're not going to do that. They're not even going to throw him the ball enough to make, even get targets to make him feel like he is worthy of that contract. So that's why they're not going to be able to get a big name guy like that unless they decide to make some move, and he can really change what our offense looks like. And he potentially could. I know a lot of people are, scared about everything about all the past history with veteran wide receivers. I'm going to say this. I said this before. He's tall, long, and athletic, and his game isn't built on speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's built on length and out-jumping everybody. He's a good route runner for a tall guy. So those guys typically can play longer than most. So if you're going to do a risk assessment here, I think, you may want to take this one up to note, and see what you can do. Now, the hard part for him is he's not going to get the targets. Like, I'm going to just throw out a number. He probably got targeted 8 to 10 times a game.
It was 160 times a season. So
just
10
watch
a
this.
game.
Watch this with the Titans. He may get 3 targets a game and may only catch 1 ball. See, that's why they don't want to allot that kind of money, first and foremost, on their part. So they're smart enough to know this and say, well, we also don't want diva mentality. When you've been a number 1, you're going to be like, hey, man, where's the ball?
Yeah.
I'm open. And they go, well, you're covered. No, I'm always open. Throw me the ball. And so I don't think that personality mix, even though DeAndre Hopkins could be a really good dude, he's also, and I'm not even going to get, a personality. I'm not calling him diva, a personality. And so it just hasn't worked well here with the Titans, especially under Vrabel. You got to stay in line and do your job, and everything else will fall into place. But there are a lot of connections with Kelly as the OC, him knowing the offense. So those are things that would be important to me if I'm a player. Only thing is he doesn't have a relationship with any of the quarterbacks. But he does know the offense. He does know the OC and Vrabel.
Yeah.
So
remember we found some audio, Mike Vrabel talking about him, and he had nice things to say.
Man, if they could get him for $10 million or less, that'd be awesome. But, when you see OBJ signed for 15 and up to 18 for incentives after 2 ACL tears, he's going to be like, what? Man, you better. Hey, I'm getting 15, bro. Yeah, so I just don't think it's going to happen. I wish it could, though. I really, man, it puts the Titans in a different position in the AFC South. To me, then I'm surprised they haven't done it, like put Hopkins on different teams at Vegas and say, okay, what is their potential now of winning games to winning the AFC South? I just saw a thing today on ESPN talking about off-season moves, and the Titans were ranked 32nd last.
I saw it.
I couldn't believe it. Did you see that, Lucas?
Yeah, Bill Barnwell.
Yeah, Bill Barnwell. What did he say?
32 of 32.
But what was
Let me pull up the article.
The worst? I was like, oh my gosh, worst off-season moves.
Yeah, he ranked them as having
best
the
to
worst
worst off-season.
Yeah.
And the Titans were 32. I mean, it was like, oh my.
He said, this is.
I was kept looking for the Titans. I'm like,
no,
where are they? Where I'm looking in the teens, and I'm like, 32.
Oh no, I screen capped this because I knew you'd bring it up. He did what went right and what went wrong. This is for time's sake because we got to get to Jordan Dajani. This is what went wrong. He said, I'm not sure whether the Titans are rebuilding. The 2 moves hanging over the organization's head all offseason still haven't been resolved, as Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are still on the roster. Both are entering the final year of their respective deals and have declined over the past 2 seasons. Tannehill's 34, Henry is 29. Are they really going to be pushing this team forward next season, let alone in 2024 and beyond? He says Kevin Byard was asked to take a pay cut, but after he called Tennessee's bluff, the team kept its starting safety on the roster.
He also suggested an Anthony Ferguson reunion.
Yeah, and Ferk got signed that day that this came out by the Patriots. Yeah, like Ferguson was going to move him up to 31st, that acquisition.
Here's what I'm going to say about what he just said. Everybody gets to their age and go, they're declining. Like, Tannehill got injured and was behind a porous line. And go look at the numbers. He may have had a lot of carries. Henry was durable. Now, did he have as many breakaways? Well, I don't think you'd have more breakaways either with that offensive line. And Kevin Byard was one of the best safeties in the league. So I think all those analogies are wrong. I don't know what he's watching. He's anticipating that will happen, and he may get that right. But based off what they did last season, I still think they are really good players.
It's the same national media disconnect that we see about everything involving with the Titans.
I'm watching them closely. And there's a part I don't even want to say Derrick Henry is declining. Everybody can say, well, he didn't have long runs. I think there was only one time all season I'm gonna say, ooh, he might have should have took that one to the house. I said, but the guy played it perfectly to delay him, and he couldn't really put on the Jets. One play. So I disagree with all of that. And Tannehill with a better offensive line is going to play better. I mean, he got everybody breathing up his neck right here. Competition breeds success and better play. How do you think these guys got to where they're at? So I think they got another year in them at a high level. All three.
Jordan Dajani's got another segment in him at a real high level, and he's going to join us next, and we'll ask him about all of this stuff and more. Jordan Dajani on the other side.
Better quit messing with me.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. We'll get to Jordan Dajani in a minute, but we got our man Bam, the drummer, jumping in discussion about D-Hop. He's on fire for D-Hop. You ready to write ready to write that check today, Bam? How much for D-Hop?
You been dreaming about D-Hop?
I think he has been.
Bam.
You there, Bamo? It's just dead quiet, Lucas. I don't know what to say.
We on the right line?
He may be playing the drums
his boss
right
may
now.
have walked by. He got to act like he working now.
He's like, sorry, guys. All right, we'll put Bam back on hold. Bam, you're probably somewhere yelling into your phone. We can't hear you. We'll have to switch out Bam for Jordan Dajani from CBS Sports. Normally he joins us on Wednesday, but the Titans are on the field tomorrow, so you'll hear from Titans in the 2 o'clock hour. So today in the 2 o'clock hour, you will hear from Jordan Dajani, who joins us right now. JD, did you have a good Memorial Day? I saw some lake pictures.
What's going on, my friends? Yeah, I had a great long weekend, a great holiday weekend. Still in recovery mode, but everything's good. So excited to be back on the airwaves with you guys talking ball.
Well, let's just do this. I mean, a lot of Titans fans, let's trade for DeAndre Hopkins. You don't even have to trade for him now. You just probably got to ante up more than OBJ got. Should the Titans just ante it up? Because as Blaine was saying, you get that dude, that changes some things now for this team.
Yeah, I'm very glad the Titans did not bite the bullet and trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Something like $29 million a cap hit. That would be absolutely wild, man. Let me tell you this. I'd be a lot more excited about this potential pairing if we didn't go through the trials and tribulations that were Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, Julio Jones, Robert Woods. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, at this stage in his career is better than those players were. I'm fine saying that. But, the Titans have obviously been pretty aggressive when it comes to reaching out and acquiring some of those older wide receivers who may kind of be on the precipice of falling down. And let's say this, I'll say this too. DeAndre Hopkins in the Titans offense would not be as effective as if DeAndre Hopkins was in the Chiefs offense or the Bills offense. He would be more effective there just because of the higher level of quarterback play, the pass first offense, a better offensive coordinator, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I would be very open to DeAndre Hopkins joining the Tennessee Titans, but I'm curious as to how much it will cost, and I'm also curious to his interest level of joining the AFC South once again.
Our man Jordan Dajani, our guest at Jordan Dajani, CBS Sports. Tons of great coverage by he and his crew over there.
All right, Jordan, I'm going to give you first option right here on the Blaine and Mickey show. Where will D-Hop end up? Your bold prediction. Where does he go?
Yeah, I think the two favorites right now, everyone's looking at the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? And I think if I had to answer your question, it's going to be one of those guys. But here's the problem. Both of those teams do not have much money right now. I got the salary cap table pulled up right now. The Chiefs have the second worst cap situation in the NFL, and the Bills have the third worst cap situation in the NFL. So these guys, at this point, don't have a lot of available money. And then we can enter the whole part of the conversation. How much money does DeAndre Hopkins want, right? What's important to him with his next landing spot? Is it competing for a ring? Is it kind of doing both where he can also make a nice chunk of change? That's going to be interesting to follow. So that kind of opens the door for maybe a couple of dark horses like the Cleveland Browns, like the Detroit Lions to maybe enter themselves into the conversation. But with all that being said, I mean, we're still here on Tuesday, May 30th. There's time for the Bills and Chiefs to make a couple of roster moves, whatever they may be, to create available money. Maybe it's restructuring some contracts that are currently on their payroll. I'm looking at the Bills and the Chiefs to go out there and get DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow. Ooh, the Bills and Chiefs. I know a lot of people haven't mentioned it, but what do you think the Browns are in this? I know they're maybe not a contending Super Bowl type team, but it is a quarterback that he knows, and they could go for another receiver. He could take them to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. I actually did a piece on CBSSports.com last week. I think it was on Friday when he got released, looking at some of these dark horse contenders for DeAndre Hopkins. Because, like I said, when you throw that money situation in there, it really could be anyone's game. You look at the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick loves DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins is one of his favorite players in the NFL. Now, it remains to be seen what Hopkins, his intrigue level when it comes to catching the ball from Mac Jones. But the Patriots could be a team that we need to pay attention to. As far as it goes with the Cleveland Browns, you pointed it out, right? He has familiarity with Deshaun Watson, but I think it's more than that. I think the Cleveland Browns, behind closed doors are probably doing everything they can to make sure that the contract they gave to Deshaun Watson doesn't look like a complete joke. And I think that they need to add maybe a little bit to the wide receiving core there. They traded for Elijah Moore. They got Cedric Tillman, the VFL in the NFL draft as well. But I think DeAndre Hopkins would be an automatic upgrade for an offense that really underwhelmed in 2022.
Well, speaking of upgrades, we're on with Jordan Dejani, NFL writer for CBS Sports. Jimmy G was an upgrade, right? Supposedly. At least a replacement. But, man, he has some injury issues to his foot, I guess, that may cost him his contract if it's not healed in enough time. Give us this scenario, what actually is involved with this contract that Jimmy G has with the Raiders.
Yeah, this is a very weird story, and it's very weird that it came out this weekend as well. So, as we know, Jimmy G signed with the Raiders, but he couldn't pass a physical when he signed with the team in March. So the Raiders gave him an injury waiver that allows the team to cut him at no cost if he can't pass a physical. So this waiver becomes null and void if at any time during the 2023 campaign he passes that physical, he's active for at least one regular season game, and then does not suffer or re-injure his left foot, let's say. So I think the thing we need to pay attention to moving forward is when he attempts to pass that physical, and if he can do so successfully whenever it is, in the preseason, right before the regular season, whatever it may be. But here's what I want to point out, too. I think this is a pretty interesting story, but the bigger story here is Jimmy G's injury history is really worrisome, right? And how the 49ers have handled it. I mean, this is the same team that said Jimmy G's shoulder issue would not be an issue when it comes to him being traded. And it turned out that his shoulder injury last offseason was a huge issue. And then the front office reportedly overplayed their hand with trade compensation, resulting in him not being moved. And now we have this situation where he decided to rehab his foot injury instead of getting surgery. And he basically wasted his time because he had to go under the knife when he didn't want to during the offseason. And now he has to deal with this entire injury waiver clause. So it kind of remains to be seen how much of a big deal this is going to be, because maybe he passes that physical and everything's okay. But that's a pretty aggressive clause to have in there, that the Raiders can cut ties with him immediately if they feel like they need to do so.
Well, you have it. Jordan Dejani, NFL writer for CBS Sports.
So is Tom Brady going to be the first owner quarterback in history? So who's going to wind up playing quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders?
That's illegal, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up. Tom Brady owns Jimmy Garoppolo once again, right? He's with the Raiders in Sin City. But here's the thing. If Brady becomes, whatever it is, a part-time owner, has that stake with the Raiders, he'd need the other NFL owners to unanimously approve him as a player before he could suit up. And I think I've seen a report out there saying that the owners, if this becomes official, the owners could include a stipulation in Brady's purchase that would forbid him from playing as long as he owns some kind of financial stake with the team. But here's the thing. This transaction is not official just yet. So we can speculate all we want until it becomes official. Once it becomes official, then I think it's fair to put the idea of Brady suiting up for the Raiders back to bed. But you guys have to remember, Tom Brady had some level of interest in playing for the Raiders a few off seasons ago before he joined the Buccaneers. So this is a story to keep an eye on. I think it's more likely than not he ends up buying a part of the Raiders. But, again, we can never say never.
Oh, we could put that on hold just for one more season. This one's for Tom. I want that to happen. I really do.
Hey,
man, that'd be so dramatic.
Speaking of quarterback stuff, you had people all in their fields this weekend. You tweeted out some Tannehill stats, and some people said, "See, I told you he's not that bad." And other people said, "You're cherry picking stats." You had people fired up this weekend with your positive Tannehill stats.
Great stats.
Yeah, I did not expect to be sitting on a boat and arguing with people online about Ryan Tannehill on the Twitter. That's not something I expected. But I was looking over these research packets that the great people at CBS Sports gives us, and as I've said on your show multiple times, like Ryan Tannehill has been statistically a top 10 quarterback in the NFL since he took over during that 2019 season. And I think a lot of people have problems with him because of his failures in the postseason. And we can talk about the Bengals game, of course, and the 3 interceptions, but it's also true that his stats at face value have not been impressive in the playoffs. Derrick Henry, of course, really, and the defense really powered that run a few years ago. So, a lot of people, it's an interesting debate, right? Because there's some people who say, I want to start over at quarterback because I want to reach for that, objectively elite guy. And then there's people like me saying, hold up, Ryan Tannehill's a pretty solid quarterback. Get some things around him and let's see what happens. So it's going to always be an interesting debate, and it's something I guarantee we're going to be talking about for the next few months as well.
Jordan Dajani, our guest, CBS Sports at Jordan Dajani on Twitter.
Well, let's stick with the Titans, man. We were just talking about this a little bit ago on ESPN. Best to worst offseason moves. Tennessee Titans, number 32. Thoughts?
Yeah, I disagree with that. Listen, I think the Titans, I don't think they've had an amazing offseason, but I don't think they've had a terrible offseason either. And they certainly have not had the worst offseason in the NFL.
Man.
I haven't read the entire piece because it's a very long piece, but I did read the Titans section, and it sounds like there's a couple of things that Barnwell is internally struggling with. One, he doesn't know if the Titans are rebuilding or retooling, and it sounds like he wants more clarity on the situations of Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. But, I think that the Titans are poised to move forward with both of those players. Did they talk about shopping them in the offseason? Maybe. But at this point in the year, I feel like we're kind of marching forward with those guys. So there's your clarity, Mr. Barnwell. The other thing is, he was talking about some of the cut candidates that the Titans had, right? Taylor Lewan, Bud Dupree, Robert Woods, Zach Cunningham. I think all the people who cover the Titans weren't very surprised to see all those names released. And it sounds like Barnwell was kind of making the case, if the Titans were legitimate contenders, all these players would still be on the team. And that's something I disagree with. The Bud Dupree one surprised me just a little bit, but we knew Lewan was gone. We knew Robert Woods was gone. We knew Zach Cunningham was gone. It sounds like that's not something that maybe Barnwell was completely on board with. But, I like some of the additions Tennessee made, right? And when they talk about Azeez Al-Shaair, who I think is going to turn some heads this year, Arden Key, who I think is going to be impressive as well, and hopefully Sean Murphy-Bunting, I can say the same thing as well. So the Titans didn't have an A-plus offseason by any means, but I can tell you they didn't have the worst in the NFL.
Absolutely, I concur. Well, old dogs up to the same tricks. Old Patriots, they're breaking the practice habits here in the offseason and having some violations on the offseason rules. Kind of tell us a little bit more about what was going on here.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that story. You're right. They lost a couple of OTA sessions. I think it was 2 OTA days, which in my mind is fairly significant because you like having those OTA sessions. You like getting your players back in gear, and you can kind of, get your ducks in a row, if you will, when it comes to your roster. But I believe it was, I think it was ESPN reported that the violation was something about an official schedule, right? There was like a meeting or workshop that was on the official schedule, which was a violation. It was nothing that had to do with on field. It was more about the scheduling that the Patriots had behind closed doors, which I thought was pretty interesting because I didn't necessarily know that. But the NFLPA did file a complaint alleging some article and section that it comes when it comes to officially scheduling meetings or workshops.
How do I guess, is it coming through some NFL player representative that is actually turning in some of this stuff? Because how does the NFLPA and the NFL kind of work to these rules, because they're not there?
Right. I think violations can be reported a couple different ways, and I would believe, I don't know this for sure, of course, but I do believe that someone reported to the NFLPA filing a complaint about what they saw in terms of the schedule. So that's probably what happened.
There you have it. Who doesn't violate any rules there? Jordan Dejani.
Hey, Jordan, on the way out, he tweeted out a picture, Blaine, this weekend of Dr. Pepper float ice cream.
Oh,
Bluebell. We need a full report before you go.
You're right. You know what? I had my first couple of spoonfuls, so I haven't sat down and had the entire bowl, but I will say this. It tastes exactly like you think it would, which really surprises me. So it's at least right now sitting at an A- grade. I'll take more notes on the texture and on the aftertaste for you guys, so next week I can give you a thorough report about what I enjoy. Okay,
I've lost all respect for you that you haven't eaten that whole tub. You've had it like 3 days, and you've had 2 spoonfuls. Come on, man, get it together.
Hey, I was out on the lake. My shirt was off. I needed to stay in shape for the weekend, man, okay?
Fair enough.
Oh, my.
All right, JD, we'll talk to you. Hopefully, our normal bat time and channel of Wednesday next week, but always great to catch up with you whenever we can.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
JD.
All right, Bam, the drummer, is on the line. Bam, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Bam. Hopefully, he's in a better phone area because he wants to talk about D-Hop. Here's the other thing. What are you guys willing to pay D-Hop? We put a poll question out, and Blaine and I were having a discussion, and right now it's going exactly like how I thought it would, and we'll tell you how that is next. Blade and Mickey 1045 The Zone. We'll get you these poll results. You can vote on the What Should the Titans Pay D-Hop poll at Blaine and Mickey on Twitter. But Bam has been trying to get to us for a while now to talk about this very subject. Sounds like he's in a better sell area. What's up, Bam?
Gentlemen, how are we feeling today, man?
Good.
What's going on, Bam?
Man, hanging, man. So, man, I thought about this whole D-Hop thing all weekend, and I'm like, man, it's kind of the question is everybody's saying, okay, well, he's not going to get the targets, okay, but the other blaring question is we don't know what this offense is going to look like because it's under a new OC. You hear everybody talking about faster, different terminologies, this, that, and the next. Mm-hmm. I got a feeling it's not going to be such a run-heavy defense or run. You'll see a lot more, like, they're going to try to fool everybody compared to what it's been. And if Tim Kelly has another object to play with in D-Hop, who he knows, who he's familiar with, had a great year with in 2019, why not spin the wheels to make the offense even that much more unpredictable? So it's kind of like it makes sense. I mean, if it's just one of the things where it's like, man, in order for the Titans offense to be more diverse, you need somebody that can take the load off and have other people accountable for. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to have to account, if you got D-Hop on the team, then you account for Derek, you account for Traylon, you got to account for Chig, everybody, you have to prep differently for them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to the money, look, man, I know everybody's against, I'd say restructure Derek first. I mean, if Tannehill's having a stellar year, maybe come through. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying keep him, but I'm saying if Tannehill has weapons, he's way more valuable and productive than what people give him. Mm-hmm. And I think right now we really need to give him that in order, for us to have some type of leverage, man. We don't have the leverage right now. I don't know, man. I just think it's something worth kicking the tires on. I don't think he's slowing down like Julio, with all the soft tissue stuff. So I think it's worth a try, man. I think
you giving him 15? You giving him 15?
Yeah.
Bam?
What you gonna pay him, Bam? That's what we gotta figure out.
That's what OBJ got.
Okay. I don't think Rand is gonna be as cheap as J-Rob. I don't think Rand is gonna be. I think Rand would give him 15. I would give him 15. Well, I would.
I don't think J-Rob was cheap now, Bam. His freeness of money has kind of gotten us to
where we are. He gave
Yeah,
he gave Julio 15. Didn't he? Somewhere around there. 14. Ooh, I can't count that high.
Rand's the one getting some bargains on these deals.
Yep. A lot of one-year deals for quality players who shown flashes they should be starters in this league. So he's about to give them their shot. I'm cool with that. Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully it works out because they're motivated to play their best and to stay healthy. It's the only way you get a contract. Long-term one anyway. So what's your poll saying there, Mixter?
What'd I tell you? I said, here's what we put up here. What should the Titans offer DeAndre Hopkins? It's a simple question. At Blaine and Mickey. And here are the four options. Nothing. Don't want him. Because I know that's some people. $5 to $10 million per year. 10 to 50, and I know this could be a one-year deal, but this is the easiest way per year. 5 to 10 million per year, 10 to 15 million per year, 15 plus. I told you, I bet each of one of those first three are going to get about a third, and it's going to be it's going to be some Lone Rangers out there saying whatever he wants, 15 plus, sign me up.
Oh, I try to change the pen. I just put my vote in.
30% don't want him, a third.
Dang.
For any price. 31%, 5 to 10 million per year. 33%, which is the clubhouse leader right now, 10 to 15 per year. 6% says, yeah, just give him whatever he wants, 15 plus.
No, I voted for 10 to 15, but I'm really at the 10. I know he's not going to play for 10. Just OBJ is killing him.
As soon as that deal got signed, like you said, he's like, wait a second. This dude's had 2 ACLs? Oh, no. He got 15?
Mm-hmm. Go look at his number and my numbers.
Negotiation starts at 16 then for me. Actually, negotiation starts at 25, and I may come down a little bit.
Oh, man, I don't know. We shall see. What happens? What's the market look like?
Well, and that's
I don't know.
Well, and that's I worked in real estate a long time. People used to say, what's this house worth? And I used to say, whatever the market says it's worth. Same for that receiver. Blaine, what's this receiver worth? 10-year NFL veteran. It's worth whatever the market says he is worth.
Hopefully it'll be low for the Titans. then they won't have a convenient excuse of why they didn't get him. Like, oh, well, he's a little high for us. 15 is a little high. Well, if he goes for 10, hey, you could have got him for 10.
If he goes for like 10 or 12 plus incentives, Titans fans are going to riot. Seriously, if that comes out and he signs with the Chiefs or what? Well, if he signs with the Chiefs, you're like, okay, he wants a ring. But he signs with some team that's not bound for the Super Bowl, according to Vegas, for a lesser amount of money, Titans fans will revolt. We're not revolting, but we still got to go because it's time for us to get out of here. The HL, they're not revolting. They're going to come in and entertain you till 6 o'clock today. Doubt. Yes, sir.
As always. In the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.